Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Solace Crafting and I just kind of want to give you some ideas about what this game is, where it comes from, what it's like, all that sort of stuff. And so basically, you know what I was going to do today? I had plans to make a Grand Theft Auto Online video and I had a Red Dead Redemption 2 online video and I was kind of working on those, but then I was on Steam scrolling through my queue and a unique thing happened to me that usually doesn't happen. And that thing was that the queue actually had a game that I had even a tiny little bit of interest in. So if you're a gamer on PC on Steam in the last couple of years, you probably had the same thing going on. Just a dead zone for game releases. So the games that you've already played the shit out of, you're done with them and you want a new game and you go on the queue and it just recommends crap after crap after crap. Things that have nothing to do with what you've ever played and are nowhere near your interest zone. Well, I was going through and I stumbled across this game called Solace Crafting or Solace Crafting. It was like $12, so it was clearly an indie game, but it said it was released at August 1st, 2022, so I was like, oh, it's pretty new. So I was looking at it, reviews seemed pretty positive. I read the description, which was really short: open world fantasy survival RPG, borderless distance-based difficulty with player-built fast travel, modular building, and town management. And if you've ever watched anything on my channel before, you'll probably know that that's kind of a game I like. It's not my number one game type, but it's definitely a game type that I have poured a lot of time into. I would call this pretty similar in a lot of ways to games like Valheim or stuff like that. The main difference I would say is that it is a hoarding simulator is probably the most accurate way to describe this game. So if you really like to just go around, gather things, and craft increasingly stronger things based on the different resources that you go through and make your way through the game, it's pretty good for that. There are some light RPG type elements in that there is combat in the game and there's weapons and armor that you can go with and different skills to learn different types of combat like ranged or melee or magic. There's quite a few different enemy types roaming around that will be varyingly aggressive depending on basically how powerful you are when you go into their region. And it's a pretty classic feeling, you know, maybe late 2000s to early 2010s type of open world looking game. But gameplay wise, I actually have been really enjoying it. So before we get too much more into like the in-depth stuff about the game, I have a link in the description for it. I'm in no way sponsored by this, but it's an indie game, and I've been having so much fun, I felt like I'm probably going to make some videos and promote it a little bit, at least as much as I can to my small audience. So if you feel like checking out this game and giving it a play, it does have multiplayer options. I haven't tested them out yet, but I assume it's just worlds that are single-player worlds that multiple people can play on. Like I said, I haven't figured it out yet because I haven't given it a try, but it's kind of got a little bit of that for everyone, I would say. So yeah, link is in the description for that. All right, and so when you open up the game, this is what it's going to look like. They've got their Discord server over here, a Patreon thing where they're looking for donations, I would imagine. I haven't clicked on it, but you know, I just assume, given that it's an indie game and that I can see the Patreon logo, that's what that's for. A money sign that says they'd like more money. I'm pretty sure this is a small dev team, so that's kind of why it has the feeling it does. But like I said, I'm just impressed by the quality of it so far. It kind of reminds me a lot of Valheim. It's a lot in that thread in the way that it's a small studio, so it's definitely not the most polished AAA experience in the world, but considering you've got probably only a handful or maybe only one person making it, it's actually pretty dang good, and I've already sunk probably a couple dozen hours into it, just enjoying the hell out of it. They even have a merch store. But anyway, so basically when you open her up, like I said, there's going to be multiple things. All I've done so far is single player because that's really all I wanted to do. They have a creative mode, which I haven't tested out yet, but I imagine it just gives you access to all of the resources and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm not sure because I haven't tested it out, but creative mode kind of speaks for itself. Then there's a server list for multiplayer, and as you can see, there's actually a decent amount of servers active. Now, mind you, I'm not seeing a lot with people in them, but maybe once you get invited to one, it's just persistent and you can play it with your friends whenever you want or go on your own. So I can see it says Solace World's no stealing stuff here. That tells me that there's probably a good chance that anybody can play these at any time. So integrated servers is always fun. I'm definitely a big fan of that. And then you've got direct connect or host. So I imagine this is just multiplayer for you and your friends. So like I said, if you want to play it by yourself or if you have a group of friends that like playing this sort of stuff, it's a solid game with options for either. But I just go into single player, and then in single player you create your character. I've got my guy Nico, level 24, unknown class. That's weird. I feel like I have a pretty well developed class. Or you can have multiple, so it's got room for multiple characters, and I assume the level carries over to new worlds, so I like it when games have that option. And then with your character you can have individual worlds, and so I've got this one here. And so when you first enter into the game, game, for at least my experience, was overwhelming options. There was just a lot of stuff going on. There was a real basic quest line, and I've just been kind of ignoring it ever since I got to these missions here. So you can see I made it through a bunch of the initial ones before I was like, yeah, I don't need to do these. And so go with that what you will. I imagine if you want it to hold your hand and guide you a bit, you can. The missions are there for it, but if you don't, you can just ignore them like I have. And so basically now you can see that the map is just cluttered, but that's just because, you know, I've got all sorts of stuff clicked, so it's showing up for me. But those are resources, and then you got other things like these small encounters. It's going to take out a lot of those monoliths, which is where there's like a couple bad guys around it, and you clear it, you get an XP boost, all that sort of stuff. So the map looks cluttered, but it's really not that bad because you can edit it as you choose. And it does give you a pretty rough estimate of where to go to find things, and of course, if you don't want it to hold your hand and want the exploration to be more organic, then all you do is you just turn those off and you don't have to worry about it. So I like the way the map system works. It's a north, south, east, and west navigation. Pretty straightforward, no quest markers, nothing over-encompassing. It's a pretty organic feeling map traversal, I would say. As far as RPG stuff and skills go, it's actually pretty dang fleshed out already, and I assume that they plan on doing some more with it. You've got your basic attributes of strength, stamina, agility, dexterity, intelligence, and wisdom. Since I'm not doing any sort of a build because I'm just starting playing the game and just experimenting with it, you can see I've just been evenly distributing my points to make basically everything go up pretty evenly. Then you've got your harvesting skills, and now since resource gathering is a big part of the game, it makes sense that you're going to have a skill for each one. So you have reaping, which is plants and stuff like that. There is farming in the game. I haven't experienced it. I haven't experimented with it at all, but I know it exists in the game. Skinning, so you hunt animals and you can skin them. Mining, this is any metal extraction. So far, the only metals that I've come across are iron, which seems to be the most basic one in the game, and I actually came across copper at one point, but I was looking through the Steam achievements, so I know that there's at least a couple other types of metal in the game. Logging, this is pretty obvious, cutting down trees, and quarrying, and so for that one it's going to be busting up stone, and you do it a lot because you use stone for a lot of stuff in this game. Then you've got crafting, so once you've gathered all your resources you can make lots of stuff, and so each one again has skills to them. Tailoring is going to be anything made with stalks, or if you turn your stalks into thread you can make armor clothing types with that. Leatherworking, same thing, you kill animals and skin them and you can make leather stuff. Smithing is all your metal stuff. Woodworking is the stuff that you make with wood. Masonry is the stuff you make with stone. Alchemy I've been experimenting with a little bit but not too much, but there's quite a few different potions you can make in the game. And enchanting is one that, well, for one thing, I found it you can level it up pretty dang quickly, as you can see, because I've got that one up to 87 already. And this will just make it so you can make specific boosts for your gear and stuff. And then, of course, your last section in the skills category is your adventuring. And so I don't know why it doesn't say I have a class, because obviously I've been putting everything into Squire. Maybe it's because I haven't done warrior or duelist, but it says classes are not yet implemented. So I guess that's still yet to come. Oh, adventurer and archer are in there. So, okay, so the Squire Tree just doesn't have any classes. All three of the other ones do. That's funny. The one I chose doesn't have it. But Squire's going to be your basic melee stuff mostly. Some of the skills are going to be things that just give you a passive boost to agility or something like that. Other ones will be special attacks, you know, things like that. And it goes across all of them. There's a lot of different ways to customize your character in this game already. So, like I said, for RPG type stuff, actually a pretty high amount of customization options already in the game. So I'm actually decently impressed with all of that. Now, another thing that I have just not experienced or experimented with at all is the town building aspect. So you can see in the town tab, you've got towns found, tier, biome, rank. I don't know if you have to find towns or you build them completely from scratch. I have not experimented with it at all. It's one of the reasons why I've been kind of considering popping on a multiplayer server just to see if anyone else has. Outside of that, building it was a weird system that took me a little while to get used to. I found this abandoned tower here and I've just been kind of adding on to it slowly as I need more room. But the building system, I feel like once you get used to doing it, it probably won't be too terribly difficult to figure out. So you do something like this. You can move your selection around to build with the WASD keys, and then you do elevation with Q and E. So Q goes down, E goes up. It seems to be a pretty straightforward builder. You can see if we click on floor or we click on like the north side of it or whatever, it'll pop up all the different options. You can do like different types of walls and all that sort of stuff. So the building is definitely probably wide open. You can make some real impressive stuff in here. I just haven't experimented with that very much yet. I've mostly been occupying my time with exploration and skilling, basically. There are terraforming options. So if I imagine this is for building your town, you can go into each area and adjust the exact elevation in 3x3 quadrants. So I that should allow some great freedom in terraforming to exact specifications. So honestly, as far as systems in the game go, I'm pretty dang impressed by it overall. It's got a bunch of basic different biomes, grass, wasteland. I found like a swamp looking biome so far. When I was in this one area that was mostly ocean, I came across a shark, so there's not only land animals, but also water animals. There's basic resource management and survival stuff, so real basic survival, but you can see that down here in the bottom left corner, we have a food bar and a thirst bar, and you have to eat and drink to keep yourself running strong. And then there's also a cold bar, so if you go into certain areas you'll get cold, and if you're not wearing clothing that helps insulate you, that'll be a problem. There's tons of different dungeons to explore, from ones like an undead dungeon where you're going to fight a bunch of undead stuff, to different ones like caves, where a lava cave where there's going to be a bunch of lava themed monsters, but also specific resources that you can target. So as far as an exploration open world RPG goes, yeah, it looks a little outdated. It definitely doesn't feel as smooth as something you might expect in 2022. But like I said, we're dealing with something coming from a real small developer, possibly a solo indie dev. And I've been really enjoying it. It's like $12, so if you enjoy open world games, exploration, crafting, RPGs, multiplayer fun or single player, all that sort of stuff, I honestly think it's well worth the $12, and I just recommend checking it out. So like I said, I've got a link down in the description. This has been my first impressions. There's probably lots I didn't cover in this video that I could have, but what I do know is that, like I said, I've been having a lot of fun with it. It costs almost nothing, and given that we're in the dead zone for gaming releases, this game has been great for me. I've been able to sink a lot of time into it, and I've really enjoyed it. So like I said, links in the description. I definitely recommend it. Let me know what you think in the comment section, if you've already played it, or if you think it looks interesting, or if you're gonna go picking it up. It's great to hear that, but that's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching, and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.